On the news tonight, as flood ravages many parts of Nigeria, Water Resources Minister blames states for ignoring early flood warnings. Minister of Information says federal government won't be stampeded by US-UK terror alerts. Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu presents 2023 budget to Lagos Assembly. Many thanks for joining us to News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, has blamed state governments for ignoring early warnings that could have averted the impact of this year's flooding. Adamu made this known during a briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Adamu acknowledged that there is no way flooding can be stopped, asserted that state governments ignored warnings regarding an impending flood crisis. Our correspondent Mary Kano tells us more in this report.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo presides over the week's Federal Executive Council meeting with a number of cabinet members in attendance. Among the salient memos addressed is the flood situation ravaging many parts of the country. In a joint briefing, the Water Resources Minister, who was given a fresh directive by the President to produce a plan towards flood prevention, said the ministry worked on available data concerning the flood's menace.
But there is no technology on earth, none, that can tell you the extent of the flood. None whatsoever. You work on the basis of data that you have before. Now that these rains have come, that is what hydrology is all about. Now that we have had this rain, this is a record. And now we are resetting the clock so that our future plans will now consider that this is the historical catastrophic level that we will now account for. That is what engineering does.
Real in figures, the Humanitarian Affairs Minister says 612 persons have now been confirmed dead as a result of the floods.
3,219,780 persons were affected by the flood across the country. We have 1,427,370 persons that were internally displaced. We have 2,776 persons that were injured. We also have 612 persons that lost their lives. We have 101,600 houses that were partially damaged. We have commenced distribution of relief materials to affected states, and the Federal Ministry of Health has been requested by my ministry to interface with the state ministries to intervene in medical-related matters resulting from post-flood epidemics.
In the same vein, the Minister of Works and Housing also said that disregard for town planning by citizens has contributed to the escalation of the floods.
That one of the things his ministry has done is to set, and I'm sure maybe we'll share the slides showing the flood warning system. It's a big pole marker that shows that when water reaches at this level, you are safe. If it gets to the yellow level, it's a warning to move. And those are some of the things government does. And it doesn't mean everybody will relocate. But as we speak here, some people did not relocate. Some might have. But the job we have to do now is to bring relief to those who are impacted. That's our job now.
The Information Minister also called on people to stop blaming the federal government or the ruling All Progressives Congress for the flooding, as the government is focused on providing temporary accommodation to Nigerians who are affected and have nowhere to go. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said that the federal government won't be stampeded by the terror advisories released by the governments of the United States and the United Kingdom. The minister made this known during a briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. According to him, the U.S. acted within a right to advise their citizens to go home, but Nigeria won't be stampeded by such warning or action. He underscored that the government has in the last few months taken a firm handle of security, urging citizens to avoid liking or sharing materials that could incite panic.
people these days don't even analyze a story before they either consume it or they share it. Now, of course, this so-called travel advisory, as far as we are concerned as a government, we have in the last few months taken a firm handle of security. And what I said is that clickbaiting, which is you find a story which is not verified and you immediately share it, can always cause panic. But I want to reassure both citizens, non-Nigerians, Nigerians living in this country, that the security agencies are on top of this matter. Of course, the terrorists would not stop to try to embarrass or intimidate government. But what I'm saying is that this country is safe and there's no cause for alarm.
Meanwhile, security experts have urged Nigerians not to panic over the terror alert issued by some foreign embassies on the Federal Capital Territory. Abuja saying that such alert is not the first of its kind. Security expert and former director of the Department of State Services, DSS, Dennis Amakri, in an interview with TV360 Nigeria, clarified that such alert is issued every month or two, adding that it is not for the general populace but for foreigners in the country. He, however, urged the security agencies in the country to be on their toes to avert any impending crisis or attack.
This alert was not issued by the United States as a new thing. If you remember, some weeks back, the DSS came out with the same alert. And of course, a lot of people reacted to it. And right now, as a follow-up to that alert, the United States Embassy or Consulate, the UK Embassy, and all of them have come up, because they must have also looked at the DSS alert and then felt that there is credibility in it. And then, of course, warn their citizens. Because, you see, this particular alert is not even for the public. It is an alert to their own citizens. They usually call it warning messages. And warning messages come out maybe monthly or, depending on what the situation is. We have to take it very, very seriously because most intelligence reports are very, very serious. And of course, I don't know, I've just got a report, whether it's not confirmed yet, that in Lube, they had also discovered a terrorist, with some explosives, so that has not been confirmed. But when alerts like this come out, it means that the intelligence agencies have already smelled a rat somewhere. And even, let me tell you, the U.S. alert that they sent out, they might even be working with the DSS because usually they are in a foreign country and they depend on the DSS, to give them information. It's not a situation where they independently go and look for information. Or it is Nigerians that even might help them. So they have to take them seriously.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has urged the federal government to grant special economic status to Lagos. The governor would describe the state as a national asset, said the benefits of Lagos transcend a region of the country, as all Nigerians enjoy the state's prosperity in one way or the other. Sanwo-Olu made this known at the 2023 budget estimate presentation to the Lagos State House of Assembly in the Alausa area of Ikeja, the state capital. He presented the budget estimate of 1.692 trillion naira, with recurrent as 759 billion naira and capital being 932 billion naira. Christened the budget of continuity, the governor said its effective implementation will be for the benefit of all.
I'm privileged here today to present our proposal for the year 2023 budget, which we tagged a budget of continuity. As earlier stated, this is the last budget before the 2023 general elections. It is therefore an opportunity to consolidate on all that we've been doing since our inception as an administration. I believe this will satisfy the yearning and aspiration of our people, the people of Lagos. The year 2023 is a year in which we will aggressively focus at completing all our ongoing projects, whilst we're expanding our social intervention programs and support for our citizens, from micro to medium to small businesses. In view of this, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to present to you the year 2022-2023 budget of continuity as proposed, with a total budget size of 1,692,670,753,894. This comprises of a total revenue of 1,342,670,649,640 and a deficit financing of 350 billion. This comprises a total internally generated revenue, IGR of over 1.1 trillion, and total federal transfer of over 250 billion.
The Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption says corruption-fighting agencies have been left behind in terms of budgetary allocations. Chairman of the committee, Senator Suleiman Abdul Kwari, disclosed this when the Chairman Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, appeared before his committee to defend its budgets on Thursday. Responding to some questions from members of the committee, the EFCC boss thanked the National Assembly for supporting the commission via landmark legislation designed to further assist it to deliver on its mandates.
Code of Conduct Bureau, EFCC, ICPC, all these agencies that are charged, NFIU, with anti-corruption matters, are being relegated to the background when it comes to resource allocation to police our near 20 trillion budget. We feel it's grossly inadequate, and we will do the needful from our side.
I thought you are too much constraining yourself, by being the czar of the economy, and say that I hope that, this thing will be adequate for your overhead so that you don't go along the line and get restricted to how you are going to operate the commission.
Most of these complaints, the convictions that you are seeing here, is not a direct correlation with the petitions that are received. Some of them are, cases that prosecution commenced 1 year, 2 years, ago. Only that this year you are now, getting the convictions, and the petitions that you have received this year, you will not see the end of it within that calendar year. It has to maybe, been taken to, years to come as well. And of course, there are some petitions that are being taken to other agencies to handle. Some are being rejected, just as what the chairman have mentioned.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, 80 billion naira needed to address flood damages. Minister of Works and Housing reveals details of the story and more right after this break.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world. A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, has blamed state governments for ignoring early warnings that could have averted the impact of this year's flooding. Adamu, who acknowledged that there is no way flood can be stopped, asserted that there was adequate information regarding the enormity of the disaster and states that would be affected but were ignored. But we also told you that the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said that the federal government won't be stampeded by the terror advisories released by the governments of the United States and the United Kingdom. According to him, the U.S. acted within our rights to advise the citizens to go home, but Nigeria won't be stampeded by such warning or action. Well, in case you miss any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. Qatar has scrapped the requirement of a pre-arrival COVID-19 test for visitors in the run-up to the World Cup, which starts on November 20, the Health Ministry said on Wednesday. The relaxed measures, effective from November 1, were announced after Qatar last month said COVID-19 vaccinations were not mandatory for the expected million-plus fans. The Qatari Health Ministry added that citizens and residents will also no longer need to take a PCR or rapid antigen test within 24 hours of returning from abroad. Earlier, a requirement to wear masks on public transport was scrapped this month, and masks are also not compulsory in the 8th World Cup stadiums. In COVID-19 updates, Chinese cities from Wuhan and central China are doubling down on curbs, sealing up buildings, locking down districts and throwing millions into distress in a scramble to halt widening outbreaks. China on Thursday reported a third straight day of more than 1,000 new COVID-19 cases nationwide. The country's ultra strict and disruptive containment measures this year against the highly transmissible Omicron variant have weighed heavily on the world's second largest economy. I'll go on a short break and be back with business stories to stay with us. Welcome back. We'll join Simi Soladigu now for more stories and business. Over to you, Simi.
Thank you very much, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has absolved the federal government of any blame for not providing temporary shelters for citizens in vulnerable flood plains, maintaining that it is the responsibility of state and local governments. According to him, his ministry has identified 154 places across the country that had been damaged by the recent floods. Although he could not tell specifically where the affected places were, he said his ministry came up with 80 billion naira as funds needed to address the damage.
Compile the list of assets in terms of roads, bridges that have been damaged, and what the nature of damage is. All of these are being photographed, filmed, documented, and we are currently compiling it. But we haven't finished because there are some places where the flood waters have not fully receded, and therefore we cannot access those places. We have to wait. So in those places, for example, it is rescue, recovery that is going on there until when the flood water recedes. But just as I shared with my colleagues in council this morning, which necessitated the long discussions and why our meetings lasted this long today, the fact that we have been able to identify 154 places where transport infrastructure by way of roads and bridges have been damaged or impaired that have to be restored on an emergency basis. But the report is not complete. And this is work being done in collaboration with members of the National Assembly and our offices. The initial costs that we're looking at with those places alone, and we haven't finished, is in excess of 80 billion naira, but we haven't finished. So our work requires some methods to be applied. So just to reassure Nigerians that government is working not only to provide relief, which my colleague will deal with, to provide rescue, but also we're already in the process of preparing restoration and replacement.
Nigeria's Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika says Nigeria Air Limited will be launched latest in December this year amidst concerns by airline operators of Nigeria that Ethiopian Airlines will own 49% stake of the national carrier. The minister disclosed this on the sidelines of an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Aviation on the state of the carrier and the controversy over percentage ownership of the airline. Sirika, however, assured that Ethiopian Airlines owning 49% of Air Nigeria will be good for aviation business as it will attract more investors to the sector.
The more that you have people doing businesses, then the ones that does it better takes advantage and give more service, and the people get more served better. And then also, if every one of them is doing also very well, without any favoritism, doing very well, then it means that the competition will be healthy and will bring down the prices of tickets and increase the propensity to fly and make more people to fly and then make more money for the airlines and give more service to the country, Nigeria. And the fact that there is going to be a robust airline that is going to be established, that is going to have connections all over the world, it only means that the market of Nigeria, 200 million people, will begin to be the benefits of those Nigerians. Where is the role of patriotism in the shells of this world, in the oil and gas sector? Is it the first time that international companies will come to partake in the business in Nigeria to own shares of a Nigerian company? Does that give you more opportunity for more markets? If you have 200 million people in Nigeria and you have 1.4 billion people in Africa, if you have the capacity to reach out to the 1.4 billion people, are you not patriotic to get more? If you are going to also access the entire world of 8 billion people, is that not better for you? If the market is expanded, who benefits? The player benefits. So patriotism means that you draw everybody to you.
We'll now take a short break and be back with Stock Market Report. Well, the local bourse has recorded its first decline of the week on Thursday as sell-side pressure forced the markets to close lower by 0.52% and a loss of 127 billion naira. The all-share index and market cap also decreased from preceding day's highs to 44,625 basis points and 24.3 trillion naira. A record dip occurred in the share price of equities such as Pharma Deco and Link Assurance. Thursday's bottom losers led to a combined loss of 2 naira 24 kobo. On the flip side, Regalins Alliance and Sovereign Trust Insurance both gained 52 kobo. Now 103 investors shared a total of 150 million volume of shares at over 1 billion naira in 2,998 deals. Now for our select stocks, Japan's Nikkei is left behind in the bears as falling stocks outnumbered advancing ones. It closed with a decline of 0.32%. Meanwhile, the UK's FTSE and US Dow Jones maintained gains from previous trading session thanks to strong economic data and easing of September highs. That's all on Stock Market Report. Folashade has the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Simisola. On the foreign scene, Iran has seen one of the biggest nights of protests since anti-government demonstrations erupted 6 weeks ago. The escalation came after protesters marked 40 days since the death of a Kurdish Iranian woman in police custody after being arrested for allegedly wearing a hijab improperly, an incident which sparked the unrest. There were reports that officers beat her with a baton and banged her head against a vehicle, but police denied that she was mistreated and said she suffered a heart attack. Even Human Rights says at least 234 protesters, including 29 children, have been killed by security forces in the crackdown. In sports, Nigeria's Flamingos will on Saturday clash with their German counterparts for the bronze medal in the ongoing 7th FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in India after they lost to Colombia in the semi-finals on Wednesday. Germany were also defeated 1-0 by the defending champion Spain to set up a second clash with their group opponents. The bronze medal fixture between the Flamingos and Germany would take place at the D.Y. Patil Stadium in India. Sunday's match will be the second between both teams in the tournament. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Obrinde. Bye for now.